Good evening, and welcome to this week's edition of What's So Funny? You know, the show that talks about the funny with the people who make it happen. Our guests this week are, touring professional stand-up comedians, actors, entertainers extraordinaire. We have Mr. Paul Myrehaug and Damonde Tschritter. And, of course, your host, the one, the only Guy McPherson.
I'm not ready yet, Sam.
I know, I'm sorry.
I had another 3 minutes and 15 seconds.
All I gotta say is I don't know what happened to the theme song off the top. I messed up this. I'm gonna blame everything to do with community radio. It's the best. Donate all your money here, please.
So normally, I was just telling our guests who are here in town, well, one of you lives in town, but you're touring too, that before the show, because Paul Myrehaug, it has been 9 years since you've been here.
Yeah.
9 years. So a lot has changed, as you can tell. Kevin has put on some weight.
Whoa.
And, oh, wait a second.
It's happening.
He's grown a beard.
Paul had vowed never to do this show for 10 years. So you got him a year earlier than you thought. Yeah.
Thanks to you, Damon.
Let go of the grudge.
But I was explaining that before every show, we play a song tailor-made. Well, we didn't write it or anything, but we find it for our guests.
Yeah.
And tonight it was perfect. It was the first time in history the song that leads into our guests was by a former guest.
I don't believe that.
You don't?
It doesn't matter.
I feel like your sidekick was found thawed out in ice from 1972 with that opening theme, that jazz music.
No, that's
smooth.
Wait. That is our theme. That's our regular theme. And not only that, that's my father playing, so bite your tongue.
Your father's probably, just the way he came out with that, it sounded
Good
like
evening.
that. Yeah, it sounded like that, Carson era type.
And personal friends of mine.
I am as fat as Ed McMahon.
Just because he's wearing a pink tie and a striped shirt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's looking good. Yeah. Anyway, the song was by
Joel Plaskett.
Joel Plaskett from the Maritimes, who was a guest in this show.
He's so
and
good.
The song was called Snowed In.
Snowed In.
And they repeat it. Snowed In.
Snowed In.
Do you know it?
Yeah, I do.
Do you know that song?
It's a cocaine song, right?
It sounds very much like cocaine. Doesn't feel like it, but sounds like it.
I
don't think
thought it was like a
Plaskett.
code word for it.
No, I don't think Plaskett's
a
a
guy.
cocaine.
That's his
Man.
last kick at the can. He's just in a place.
That's it. You know it.
I know it, yeah.
Oh, do you guys play it on
This
tour?
is totally a drug reference.
I knew that from years ago when it first came out. I've been listening to that for years. Love that song.
That's fantastic.
I've
Well, that
never
was the
heard it.
song that you didn't get to hear.
I'm sorry, guys.
But I'll include it
I've
when
never
this
heard-
drops as a podcast.
I've never heard that song, and Paul just told me that I have great taste in music before I got here, and now I see he's listening to that song, and I'm not sure about your compliment.
Hey. Joel Plaskett is a...
His dad's in that band.
No, that's not his dad's band. I already insulted his dad's band.
Joel Plaskett is a friend of the show, though,
okay.
and I was friends with his wife in university, and that's how I got to know him.
Can you please give me some sort of signal off air so I don't insult another friend's band here?
You've insulted Sam.
Two
You've
landmines.
insulted my dad.
I'm leading off with a hat trick. I'm having a big
I
day.
take whatever Damon says as a compliment, as it's intended 100% of the time.
100% of the time.
Last time,
I was raised in a host of sarcasm.
Last time Paul was here, he came in with scars or fresh scab wounds from a skateboarding accident, I believe.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe even on the way to the show. I don't know, but maybe you just talked about it. But
No,
I don't remember.
that was I had a bad, I think that was in Niagara Falls maybe, or the one, no, because I hadn't moved to England yet. So I think that was my last show before I moved overseas. It's been about 9 years since I left. But yeah, those are war wounds from Niagara Falls. I fell on my longboard there.
Yeah, oh, that's right. And you brought your longboard here because I think you skated to the show.
Yeah,
And of
absolutely.
course, now you're living in Europe, so you don't bring your longboard with you.
No, I retired I had a really bad accident in London at Oxford Circus. I had a bad fall, and then that's it. I gave my boards to my nephew, and that's that.
Here, you go kill yourself. What a nice uncle. But the one that you were describing when you were here 9 years ago, if I remember, it was like you had to scrape all up and down your leg. It was really bad. So what was worse in London?
Face. It was a face plant. And,
that's embarrassing.
I skid across the road and right in the middle. And Brits, like it's one of those scatter crosswalks. So they stop all traffic on side and 400 people go through it. And at the very last second, I went for it. And then 400 people witnessed it. And Brits, they go, it was so embarrassing. And then, I gave it up. That was it. That was
you went out on a standing O, retired to a standing O. Yeah, picked up his board. Last skate for me.
Thank you very much. But so on your face, did you break anything? Did it look bad?
Looked bad. Looked really bad. I had nose and wounds all up and down the face.
And did you have to perform soon after that?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I kept on going.
You added it to your act?
Just told them what's happened. And it's funny when you do have an injury, it does take away from your performance a bit. Like people kind of look at you. I think anyway.
Well, that's when you tried to do the unknown comic. For a couple of weeks. Put the paper bag on your head and just you took over his persona for 2 weeks.
Born.
Like, this guy's been retired for a while. I'll just go on as him.
I'm going to be a star.
But it does take away from your focus, you're saying?
No, I think the crowd looks at you as like a weakness or something.
I think they're like wondering how bad your show was the night before.
Yeah.
That you got your face beat to a pulp. This guy must suck.
Yeah.
So you got to address it right off the bat.
Yeah,
now, Damon, you're a shredder.
Yeah.
Do they call that with skiing, shredding?
No.
What is that? That's just in guitar playing. That is skateboarding.
And snowboarding.
Skiing, you're like, go to somewhere else on the hill. That's not for cool people.
But you have been a daredevil anyway in your younger days. I know you just had a birthday. And so.
Yes, I was a daredevil, but I officially retired from snowboarding just 2 years ago with the snowed-in team. I went back. I thought, it's just like riding a bike because I used to run a snowboard shop and horrific tomahawk spill. I first run of the day hit, and then we didn't know whether when I landed, I wasn't sure if I was alive or not. It's one of those ones where you're like, yes, I'm still alive. And then I came down and ran into these guys, and they said I looked awful, and I was like, I'm gonna get a beer and a bowl of soup, and I went in, and my pocket had been open, so I had lost my phone and wallet. So I had to get back on the chairlift and retrace my steps, and there was my phone sticking out, and where I hit first, 30 feet down the hill was an imprint and my wallet, so you could see the crash site.
Right.
And I was like, it's time to quit. I'm tired of throwing up on the middle of a hill. Like, I get a lot of concussions. I'm surprised I'm still out doing comedy.
Good forensic work.
Yes.
You could figure out exactly where it went wrong and what happened because you passed out.
Initial contact here, finishing here, and wallet and phone. You can measure between wallet and phone.
Yeah. And that's on the snowed-in tour where you guys would do snowboarding and then go and perform. And so you had to perform that night or close to it?
Perform that night. Yeah. But, I've had my bell run a lot of times in hockey and stuff and then gone to do a show. Only once have I not remembered doing the show.
Seriously?
Yeah, did a show at the Urban Well. And I had walked my girlfriend into traffic on the way there earlier. I was leaning against the bar talking to someone, and then my girlfriend came up to me, and she's like, you've been ignoring me all night. I was like, when did you get here? She's like, you walked me down. So I had no memory. I got kicked with a skate in the middle of the forehead. Not the blade part, obviously. But
Cassian. You got Cassian.
I got Cassian. And didn't remember the show. But I did well, apparently.
Best show you ever had.
Best show I ever had. I was, from the heart that night. It was all coming from the heart.
Wow. So, I mean, the show must go on.
The show must go on.
Always.
Yeah. Always.
Last time I saw you, Damon, was on the fated ferry trip a couple weeks ago where we had to wait 9 hours for a ferry. And funnily enough, not too long before that, I had to wait 9 hours for a ferry. And who did I wait with? Dan Quinn, the founder of the Snowed-In Tour. But yeah, when I saw you... we were there all day, basically, and then we finally got onto a ferry.
Yeah, because they were canceled all morning. We were hoping to get on the 3.
Yeah.
So, I don't know what you were up to. We were playing crib. For action. Yeah, crib, the card game.
Yeah, it's a great game.
From the island, man.
Yeah, playing crib. We got rules. Oh, I'm a pegging champ, man. I'll take you to town.
I've heard that.
So,
that was your birthday weekend.
Yeah, birthday weekend. So we were going over and then, got stuck there. Didn't make it, or they canceled all boats home on the way on Sunday, so I got an extra day.
You got an extra day.
Yeah.
Good outlook, fella.
Yeah,
good outlook.
Sometimes it's hard to get off the rock. You can get stuck there.
Yeah, I know. Well, 3 of the 4 of us are from there.
Yeah.
Is that right?
That's right. Yeah, I'm from Victoria. Sam's from Victoria.
Yeah.
You're from Up Island.
Kind of. I was from Victoria till I was 10, and then a divorce kicked in, so I was sent north till I was 18, and then I returned. So boomerang effect. Yeah.
After your parents got back together, then
they melded it up after 8. Damon's out of the house. Let's get back together. I was the problem.
Finally, someone admits that the kid's the problem.
Yes,
right?
They just told me, all right, you graduated, get out. We're getting back together. Your younger brothers are good.
And the fourth of us is from, don't tell me, Camrose or Cam...
Yeah, man, you nailed it. Camrose.
Cranbrook. No, what's the other C one?
Canmore.
Canmore. You're from Camrose.
Yeah.
And that's near Edmonton.
Yeah, that's right.
Right.
Yeah.
But then you spent how many years in Vancouver?
I guess 4 total.
Is that all?
Oh, yeah, it was the only thing.
You left a big mark for only 4 years.
I loved it here. I absolutely loved it here.
You didn't leave any mark on Vancouver. You were in Langley or where? Weren't you at Tsawwassen?
Oh, yeah. Well, I think he's talking about with stand-up.
Oh, with stand-up.
Yeah.
You lived here as a kid.
Oh.
He put in some kid time in Tsawwassen.
Tsawwassen, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, about 5 years, 5-6 years in Tsawwassen when I was a kid.
I keep my statement for both.
And maybe 4 years when I was doing stand-up, and then I left, because I needed, I have no lineage in the UK, so to get the visa, I needed the holiday working visa, so it needed to be done before I was 30, so I left when I was 29.
Perfect.
Something like that. Yeah.
And then once you were there, you're there.
That's it.
How many years ago was that? Was that 9 years ago?
29, 9 years ago, yeah.
When you were last here?
Yeah.
And then you went to London. Is that where you live now?
No, I live in the south of France now.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, just along the Mediterranean, just outside of Montpellier.
Now, why is that? Why do you live there?
Well, it's a woman,
French woman,
a French woman. Yeah. So we've been together, living together down there for about 3 years. It was either she moved to London or I moved there, basically, and I went down there. It's still actually really easy for me to gig because
I bet, in Europe, it's
and Ryanair and EasyJet service the UK. There's about 5 airports down there, so they, I just every weekend I hop on a flight. I go to the UK or to Scandinavia, and then I fly home. And
every weekend. Life is rough. What's the town? What's the city you're in?
A little village called Caux, C-A-U-X.
Caux.
Yeah.
And is that near Cannes?
No, that's Italian. This is more the dirty south, the Spanish border.
Oh, see, my mom was from near the Spanish border in France.
Get a map, McPherson.
Hey, don't insult my mother.
I've gone in for your father. Your mother doesn't know geography. Your father and his music.
It can come from the Occitan, co, which means lime.
Oh.
Go means lime?
And I just did learn how to work with lime because we're renovating a house, and I had to learn how to work with stone and lime. I put together some I
thought maybe you were burying someone out back.
Yes.
That's lime, though, right?
Yeah.
That's not lime. I got it wrong. Lie I was thinking of. Okay.
Does it look pretty, Sam?
It looks like it's like 2,000 people or something that live there.
That's exactly it.
Yeah.
That's the thing. So I've looked into the villages my mom lived in or village, and I think, it'd be nice to go and spend some time there. And I look around, on Google Maps, you can go down on the road, and I go, what would I do?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm sure it would be, beautiful, but after 3 hours.
Yeah. No, I am dead inside. I'm barely hanging on. No, I mean, you really gotta enjoy jogging and biking and hiking and things like that. I think if I lived down there full time, I would go squirrely, but because I leave every, 5-6 days, it's, and then get to the big cities in the English speaking countries, then I'm fine. But yeah, I agree with you. It'd be tough to just walk around.
Because you said all those things you need to do. So I'm still wondering, what do you do there?
Yeah.
You don't do any of those, right?
No, I don't.
Hiking, jogging.
Yeah, I don't even skateboard anymore. So
and it's pretty flat, isn't it? Oh no, it's near the Pyrenees.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's very hilly. Yeah. But
Pyrenees, that's a mountain range, Damon.
Well, I'll find out because I'm going over to Paul and I'm going to join him on a European tour through May, and then for his birthday on the 25th, we finish and we spend a week. I'm going to spend a week in the village. My gal Christy's coming. JP and Erica arriving at the same time, and then we're all. Allison Smith everybody's
Allison.
sort of congregating at the same time at Paul's place for a week, and then Christy and I head off to wherever. Everybody goes their separate ways after a week at this Chez Le Paul in the middle of...
with the lime.
With the lime. We all have... it's Coronas. Mandatory Corona drinking. It's a lime town.
It's a murder mystery.
Yeah.
Don't go talking about Coronas right now. That was
see, there he is. Always with edgy humor from behind the glass.
Edgy.
He's the only guy behind glass.
That's why.
That's why. Yeah. He's safe in there.
But it does sound very romantic, just being there, and then jetting off to the other cool locales throughout Europe. Now, when you moved there 9 years ago and started to get your footing in stand-up, obviously now you got your footing, so much so that you can live in the south of France. Is the work, just always increasing, or is it about where it was?
It was
7
hard.
or 8 years ago.
Yeah, it was a lot. It was hard. There's no shortcuts there. They don't I had a few credits here, like some TV stuff or whatever, but no booker there is going to book you without you doing like a showcase set. So, and there's so many bookers
in London.
In London, yeah, and in the UK. So you spend 2 years just going around that island showcasing, but once you got it, you got it. And there's unlimited work there. I mean, it's just unlimited. Yeah. So I'd say it always increases, and just the venues get nicer. Like I'm supporting Ed Byrne these days, which that's into theaters and that, so it seems like everything's increasing, but it was a tough start.
Ed likes his Canadian comics, doesn't he?
Loves them. Yeah, absolutely loves them.
Said they're easy to follow.
Damon is on fire. Damon, have you worked Europe before?
I have not worked Europe before.
So this will be a first.
Yeah, I just waited till Paul got all the good gigs together, and I said, when you got a cush gig, call. I'll come open. I'm a Canadian, so.
But this is a dream. Me and him are doing Sweden, Denmark, Luxembourg, Belgium, and Holland together. So it's a tour that and maybe Antwerp. But anyway,
we're still working on the twerps.
Yeah. But
twerp tour.
It's going to be amazing. It's going to be really cool.
That's great. So now you got this on your name, and then you said, "Hey, can my buddy come along?"
Yeah.
How does that work?
Yeah. It's just
because he didn't showcase for people.
No.
I don't get out of bed and showcase. I wait for the phone to ring. You know where I am in my career.
Yeah.
Call me when you got a gala is like what I like to say to the scouts.
This is, all I have to say is the only Canadian to win the Seattle International Comedy Competition.
Right.
International. It's a accredited American. Call me. I'm a bigwig in America.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You know who came second that year?
Damon's year?
Yeah.
Who was that?
It was me.
Oh, was it? Seriously?
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's great. Top two, Canada.
And then,
how do you feel about that? Now you're bringing them over to Europe.
Yeah, it still burns every day.
You'll get to headline? And then you'll mention that?
I think I'll close, yeah. And
then you'll say that you came in
I don't have to
him.
say anything. He likes to say it every single time.
Yeah, I like to get out there and remind everyone that I am officially better than Paul because I beat him. So it's all downhill after I leave the stage.
Yeah.
So.
There are numbers to back it up.
It's sanctioned. There's records of it. There's a framed picture of me hanging in a comedy club in Seattle.
And it's really interesting too. The number 3 was
the bronze medal winner was Rory Scovel.
Yeah.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
That's not bad. That's about right, though. Damon, you, and then Rory.
Yeah.
In that order.
I'd say, talent-wise, for sure.
Yeah. So now I go down and open for Rory as well.
Yeah.
So,
do you?
Yeah, I was just down in Texas doing the Comedians Following Tool on Tour.
So we'll say that again.
The Comedians Following Tool on Tour, the tour. So there's the band Tool. I don't know if your father played with them.
No.
Obviously not.
Never heard of them.
Okay.
Uncle, maybe.
You never heard of Tool? They just won the Grammy for best metal band, but they're not really metal. They're like progressive metal. So they sell out, if they come here, they could do back-to-back night. They did back-to-back nights in Toronto at the Scotiabank Centre, wherever the Leafs play, right? So they sell out giant stadiums. So Rory and I were both fans. We ran into the guitarist in the airport back in September.
As you do.
Just by fluke because we were both listening to Tool. So Rory put together this Comedians Following Tool on Tour, but I only had 1 week off in between snowed in. So I went to Texas and joined them in Austin and Dallas. And then the guitarist from Tool, Adam Jones, wound up coming to our show. Saw it. He's like, "Do you guys want to come to sound check tomorrow?" Next thing you know, we're on the floor. He's giving us $1,600 a pair of tickets. We're in the back hanging out, tour bus. Now I'm friends with the guy.
Wow.
So we go down there. So I'm going back to join
You should
them
open for them.
Well, they don't have comedians before them, right? But he comes. So we're just pals now. So I'm going back to do Spokane on March 10th and Portland on March 11th, I think. Or so you do the show either the night before or night after the tour. So it's like show in Spokane, see Tool. Now we get to ride on the tour bus with. They all have their own tour bus. All the different guys have their own bus. They don't
Each
travel.
individual.
The whole band doesn't go
Do
on
you
one.
have to pick favorites? Like, whose bus should I go on?
We only know the guitarists. We've never met the rest of the band guys. We've seen them and whatever, but they all go to their own separate dressing rooms. And so we'll do the show and then we'll ride with Adam. He's like, just hop on the tour bus and we'll ride from the tour bus from Spokane overnight, wake up in Portland like a rock star, see his show, do our show, and then I fly home.
Wow, that's great. Are they as good as Joel Plaskett?
Oh, much better.
Hey, come on. He's a friend of the show.
I know. But
unless you can get the Tool guy in here, and then he could become a friend of the
unless
show.
Joe Plaskett is rated higher than 75th all time in Wikipedia for guitarists to ever live and a Grammy winner. I got to say, it's kind of like me being better than Rory Scovel and Paul Myrehaug. It's a matter of opinion, but it's accredited.
It's okay.
It's accredited. You might have different opinions, but accreditation.
Paul, you get the honors today.
Okay. This is Paul Myrehaug, and you're listening to What's So Funny on CFRO 100.5 FM, Vancouver Co-op Radio.
Perfect. And Damon will give you a chance.
He really got into that.
Not tonight.
Not tonight. He really got into that on the back nine of
Nailed
that
it.
announcement.
Yeah,
he started off slow.
I was so nervous
Because he didn't know.
Yeah.
He didn't know what is this all about. Then he kind of figured it
And
out.
then I got it.
And then I go for a read. He's like, no, withdrawn. He just pulled the paper back for me.
You get in the second half of the show, and we'll see who's better.
Okay.
Again.
Well, I don't know. Now he's already got a run at it.
That's true.
Ridiculous. Yeah.
He can think about it for half an
And
hour.
I guarantee you, #1 in the Seattle Comedy Competition.
So that's going to be a great tour for the two of you at those countries. You've been to Europe, have you, Damon?
Well, not since my family left Nazi Germany in '39, so we haven't gone back.
I knew. Oh, Tschritter, of course.
Yeah, the Tschritters got out of
There's
there.
5 consonants in a row in Tschritter?
5 out of the gate. So right out of the gate, get your only. The old joke was only people from Sawasin know how to spell it. So that's why Paul and I had an instant bonding.
Yeah, quick friends.
Sawasin.
Sawasin with the silent T.
I say Tawasin, yeah. And I just read tonight on our Facebook post, somebody commented that they just went to see you do a debaters against Kyle Bottom.
Yeah.
And he's from?
Delta.
Okay.
Or Langley.
Close enough.
Yeah.
I was thinking that as Tawasin.
Yeah, there's me, Decker, and Bottom that are all from that peninsula or whatever.
Right, yeah. And you, what was the debate? Vaping or something?
Vaping.
And you were, let me guess, you were pro.
I was pro.
Of course you were. Do you vape?
I do, but it's not a full-time thing, but yes, I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Damon, you?
I don't vape, but I smoke at times.
Nice.
So I don't. Yeah, I'm
Nicotine.
old school.
I'm all in.
I'm
man.
old school. Like I don't smoke for like a month, and then I smoke violently for like 9 days. Right on a pack a day, right on it, pack a day, and then I'm like, let's put them down and take time off. But when I get into it, I go full pull. I don't
Export A golds.
Export A golds. Exactly.
Right, man.
Silver. Now they're all one
I
package
hate that
color.
stuff.
Now they're calling it smooth or something.
Yeah, they are. They're the best.
Yeah,
How many?
I like the guy on the other side of the glass. He knows a good flavor. Yeah.
How many debates have you done on the debaters?
I think that's maybe number 7 or 8 for me. Yeah.
Damon?
I'm somewhere around there too.
Okay,
so
what's your record, Paul?
Okay, I won that one. I've lost one, and I've tied one and have won the rest.
Damon?
2, 5, and 1.
Oh, so Paul is clearly the better debater.
Oh, well, I like to play the foil.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm more like a WWE guy. I get right in their face, make people hate me
insulting
right away.
your mom, insulting your dad right
I
away.
come out that sort of thing. I always just pretend to be my Uncle Jimmy. I go with his angle.
Damon heel Tschritter.
Yes,
right?
I'm a heel. Yeah,
heel.
I play the heel pretty well. And then the last 2, I was playing the heel, and I was getting less and less debates. So then I went out and won back-to-backs, and that didn't change things either. So that's my record over like a 12 years. So Maybe I'll do one in Winnipeg coming up, but I didn't do this. They're waiting until they need the the Buddhist sort of meditating guy who's gone to do ayahuasca. I'm waiting to come in for that angle.
Oh, yeah. You talked about that last time you were here.
So
the ayahuasca.
when I said, like, fill me in when you decide you're going to have that character. Because they sort of character base it in a way, right? Mm-hmm. They've got, Derek Sagan fills in the fake French category. You got,
there's no competition.
Yeah, there's no competition. So you sort of get these, like they told me after a while, like they're like, Dave Hempstead's going to always play like the, what do you call that? Aggro male, not aggro male, but like
alpha
male,
the sporty guy.
Yeah, he's the alpha male. Charlie Demers is their far left wing sort of. That, so they've got sort of like
they go with the stereotype.
They've got people who fit certain categories, and he's like, when we kind of figure, when that category comes into play, we'll call you back in. So I'm just sitting on the side. I'm just on the bench.
The hippie, the former
I'm
hippie.
a guy in the If I'm in the basketball team, I'm the guy right now who hasn't unzipped his track pants in a while. Right? I'm just sitting down. Again, I jump once in a while. When Paul puts in a good lick and a fake thing up and down the end of the bench clap.
Pro tip, just remember to wear your uniform underneath.
You saw that? Fuck, was that great? This guy from the Spurs got put in the game, and he ran in, took his track pad, and then he forgot to put on his jersey. He just is sitting on the bench so long.
He never plays.
What's the last number of basketball? Like 11, right?
No, it could be any number these days, yeah.
No, you can wear a number, but like 11 guys on the bench, right? Like who's the guy who never plays down the end? I think you can only carry, it's 11 or 12 guys hit the floor
usually
at once.
12.
I think it's 12, but I didn't know if they trimmed it down to like CFL roster size. I didn't know if they had CFL roster size or NFL.
Right, yeah.
Which is more?
CFL. NFL is 11 because that's why the 12th man is the Seahawks have their 12, and then CFL's got an extra guy running around because they got an extra, I don't know.
Well, it's a bigger field.
Right?
Bigger ball.
Yeah, they're allowed to run all over the place. It's just bigger and better.
Yeah.
Bigger and better.
America usually likes bigger and better, but they don't like it when it comes to football.
Go figure. Here are the questions I wrote down for Paul and Damon tonight.
All right.
1.
Whoa.
0. Just your names.
You were really banking on that extra 3 minutes off the top of your
Gosh.
No wonder you were stalling without a song.
Here's the thing. Tonight, I went to, along with Sam, we went to see Sam Morril at the Biltmore's part of the JFL Northwest tour. Now, you two touring comics are here, and you're going to be playing in and around Vancouver for the Snowed-In tour, but not for JFL Northwest.
No. Did it last year with Rory? Yeah, it is a little crazy, but it's one of those.
Yeah, we do the same venue. We do the Rio Theater, but we seem to do it 7 days before the festival all the time. So
it works. Yeah. Timing is everything.
Yeah.
So, and it's one of those ones where I talked with like the booker of it, and they're like, "Hey, send us. Like, who do you want to open for?" So you sort of give the list, and like, hey, we think maybe we'll put you on the alternative show. And then all of a sudden, either some years you're in, and then some years you're not. But there's a lot of good comics in town. So
there are a lot of good comics.
And you got to fit who you're going to open for, or whether, like, I'm supposed to be doing, like, the Keno show. And there was a couple of shows where I was supposed to go and do spots on shows around town. But I got some family news about my father, so I got to go back to the island. So I kind of had to bow out of all the little shows I was supposed to do to support the Vancouver shows around.
Well, I hope the weather is good for your
It's all clear sailing.
Island.
Snow season's over, right? So I can get on and off the rock as much as I need to now. Paul, flying in. I'm a big wig. After that ferry
taking the Harbor Air?
Yeah, Harbor Air.
Nice.
Yeah, Harbor Air.
Nice. You can afford the $99.
It's $140.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I'm not flying standby like yourself, pal. I'm right behind the pilot. I can see over his shoulder.
I won the Seattle competition.
Neither of us is taking helijet.
I'm paying a U.S. I used to take the helijet.
Are you serious?
No, you don't do that.
You paid the $400?
No, my cousin was a helijet pilot for a while, flying helijet. So I had, anytime I wanted to go on standby, it was $10. So I started when I first year show I did, I started dating this vegan girl, and I was just met her, and I'm like, "What's your favorite restaurant?" It was Valentine's Day, so around like 15 years ago, and she was like, "Some restaurant in Victoria." I'm like, "Okay." So I had to do that. So then that morning on Valentine's Day, I took her down to the helijet.
Amazing.
My cousin, nobody else was booked that day, so I just walked her onto a helijet, flew her into Victoria, favorite restaurant, took her out, drank, and all that sort of stuff, flew her home.
And
didn't work out.
It did. After that, I could have beat her for the rest of our relationship if I wanted to.
Wrong, Dana. Wrong.
Well, we were engaged, but it never worked out. So, but right out of the gate. But it was a pretty impressive first date, especially when she did. We'd only met maybe a month before that. So now I'm pulling out helicopter rides right out of the gate.
Well, after the Kobe accident, I met a guy who, and we were talking about it, as you do when a tragedy like that happens, and he said his wife's family all is in the helicopter industry, and he says, and consequently, none of us will ever fly in a helicopter. And I went, oh, that's not good.
Ooh. Did they all quit the industry then?
No, they just won't fly.
They just won't fly.
Really?
Yeah.
That's scary.
Yeah.
That's scary.
There you go, because you can't glide in. You're just coming down.
Yeah, and my cousin, actually, the guy who flew Helijet now fights fires and that.
Does he got to go fight a fire?
Yeah, he's got to go fight a fire. So, and then the joke is, how do you know a helicopter pilot? They're always the first to tell you. Because he's in any bar. Like, I'm a helicopter pilot. Because we had the night where, like, we were in the bar and this girls came over to us and like, hey, guy, what do you do? And he said something like, he's like, oh, I'm a helicopter pilot. My cousin here's a professional comedian. And she's like, I'm going to go get my friends. And like, that would have been a bullshit story when we were in, like, 19. That's like a cover story you would have told, but now we were living the dream.
I do got to tell this one story because when I was a young lad, I was opening for Damon in Saskatchewan. It was one of those Christmas shows where you had like 6 shows in one night in different conference rooms around the hotel, you know?
Oh, really?
And then you ended off in the bar underneath the hotel for a bar show. So we didn't really see each other. I would open, he would close, I would open, he would close. And then at the end of the night, Damon was sort of, it was kind of a pub crawl for him. He was having a couple of drinks at every corporate he went to. So and then we got to the bar show. I brought him on stage and all I heard he was trying to close up his set, and I just heard this into the microphone like, Paul, are you in here? And he got so drunk that he couldn't remember his last joke. I went on stage, he whispered it into my ear, and I said it into the microphone in an impression of Damon, like, all right, so I'm in the fire department. And the place went fucking crazy. It really worked out.
They sent me tequila shots, and tequila shuts down my muscle system, so I couldn't talk. I could feel myself, like, unable to talk, so I just enough that I could whisper it to him. Wow. And he did it as me, and that was a huge closer. We came off victorious. But otherwise, I was like, pit stop. It wasn't going to work, right?
I like it so much, I became a member.
Yes, that was the old member. I'm a member. I forgot.
The Greyhound.
The Greyhound.
It's funny. Somebody asked me, I went to do that joke. I hadn't done that joke in so long that I said something about that, and I pointed to the wrong arm.
Wait. We were talking about a tattoo that you have. Clearly, you still have it.
I still have it.
You just forgot.
But in the middle of the show, I was like, yeah, that's because... And then I was like, ooh, wrong arm. Right? And I don't know even how that joke kicked in. But.
So this kind of gig, is this common? I've never heard of it, where it's in one hotel and you just go from room to room telling jokes?
Back in the day, it was
Christmas time. There would be a thing, so you'd start out doing like a banquet room in a hotel at the top, then another banquet room.
But all different, all different companies?
Yeah, one of them was the Saskatchewan Rough Riders that night. So we just walked in and you're like, what? And they're like, yeah, hey, we're the Rough Riders. Go up there and do half an hour. Like, it was bizarre. Yeah.
So you do your show, and as soon as you're done, you walk out, and then you go into the next room, and Paul's just finishing up, and then you go on stage, so you're right behind him. You maybe have 4 or 5 minutes in between a show, and then you do like an hour again.
Wow.
Yeah. So you're doing like
series
4 hours of comedy.
Corporates.
Corporates.
In the same building. You don't need to travel all around town. That's how it should be done.
It was great.
It's rare. It's rare. And I did one this Christmas where there's 2 of you and you switch at the half. So you do like a back-to-back hours. But the weird thing is going in blind. So I have no idea what Paul's talked about before me. I don't know who the drunk or what the companies are. So you go in with you start to talk and everyone's like, we already know that's Sheila. Yeah. She works at the bank. Move on, right? So,
and he did one more thing that happened. He watched my first. So the first show, obviously, you're both there, and he's closing, so he can watch it. And he came up and he said afterwards, he said, I noticed you took your foot off the gas on a swear word. You usually swear there. And I was like, well, yeah, it's a corporate. And he's like, it doesn't matter if you're funny. You don't take your foot off the gas. They can't complain if you're getting laughs, kid. Fucking swear away, you know? So then I went to the next room and I was hitting every swear word and dying.
He sabotaged you. He sabotaged.
Perfect.
I came in with a nice, clean, tidy set. Got the gig again. Next year, Paul was out.
Oh, man. Those F-bombs
You
were
didn't tell me
ringing
that
off.
you were dying. I just remember you telling me, like, I don't change my show for anybody. You're not coming back to do the corporate the next year anyhow. They're like, what? That show will run over 10 years, so you do whatever. And
oh, man.
Hey, when you play another country, like even from England to Canada or the U.S., you have to change a little bit, just some terminology. Where, I mean, in Canada, not so much because we're trilingual. We can understand American and British.
Yeah.
But over in England, if you say trunk instead of boot, they're going to
in fact,
kill you.
Yeah, they will stab you.
But so when you play these numerous countries, as you're about to do in May, March, when is it? Is it all British English, so you don't need to change from country to country? Are there...
Yeah, this tour specifically is expat heavy, so it's Canadians, Brits, Americans, and that are coming to these shows. But, I just finished a tour of Norway. It's funny, you lose a big percentage of your act, and you don't know why. They'll just be like, jokes that don't work in Norway that I have on a list that work in England and they work in Canada, but in Norway. And
they work in Sweden, in Finland.
Yeah, they'll work in Germany, but in Norway, you just like, maybe it's one word and you can't ever figure it out, but it's just like, you lose probably half your act just walking off the plane there for sure.
Just in Norway.
Just in Norway, yeah.
And I just ran into that in Texas.
When you're in Austin?
Show, Austin, because I had been doing this, just working out this joke about a reward sign in a coffee shop for a lost budgie. So I told this joke and it'd been going pretty good, and doesn't work at all in Texas. And I'm kind of baffled, but I was sort of hosting, and I came back out, and a bunch of people are like, "What's a budgie?"
Oh,
so in the States they don't say
what do they
budgie,
call it?
Parakeet.
Well, we say parakeets and budgie.
We say parakeet as well, but they had no idea what budgie was, so it didn't work. So then I came out like, guys, you could have told me. Got some big laughs and recovered. But the odd thing was, Adam Jones, the guitarist at Tool, at the end is like, my favorite part of the show was when you said budgie. I haven't heard that in years. I'm a big Monty Python fan, so we bonded over that.
There we go.
It turned out to be a savior.
Yeah.
That reminds me of the Brent Butt joke about the lost bird. The poster for a lost bird.
Oh, no.
Remember that? He goes, I don't like your chances. It's got the gift of flight, answers to nothing, or to no one. Yeah.
I don't remember the lost bird, but I guess I better drop that joke.
Yeah. Well, as long as it's different.
Yeah.
It's a different joke.
I'm using budgie for Pete's sake.
I don't think he used budgie.
Budgie. Yeah, I'm going to have to change it to parakeet for Spokane and Portland.
So, Paul, when was the last time you played Vancouver?
It would have been the Real Theater a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, you were on that show, Dino.
At the Snowden. So the Snowden show was a couple of weeks ago at the Real.
What's the Snowden show? Was here.
Snowden came and went, and we were in Surrey last night.
Yeah, we did the Performing Arts Center in Surrey last night.
You're kidding.
Yeah.
That is huge.
Yeah.
Wow, that is where the JFL Gala plays, I know.
In Surrey?
In Surrey.
Not the JFL Northwest, but the Cross Canada Tour.
Okay.
They play here, and then they play the Bell Center. No, what did you call it?
Performing Arts Center.
Performing Arts Center. Yeah,
it's us. It's us,
Letterkenny,
JFL.
Yeah.
No big
Those
deal.
are the three Canadians.
Sugar Sammy, too.
Yeah.
Sugar Sammy's crushing it in France, too, man. That guy's crushing it.
Has he got any jokes yet?
I don't know. It's all in French.
I don't know, but it's charming.
Yeah.
It is very charming.
It's charming, yeah.
Oh, that's what I was thinking. Like some people think you have a real Canadian accent.
Yes.
Some people do. When you play Austin?
They just thought I was from the beach.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
They could also be. Yeah, you could also be like.
They didn't know. Although when we were in some restaurant, the guy was talking to us. He's like, "Where are you from?" And I'm like, "Oh, from Canada." He's like, "I noticed something, but it's weird. It used to be. It's getting different now. But I'd go to I'd be somewhere in Alberta, and they'd think I was from the East Coast. I go to the East Coast, and they'd think I was from Ontario. Like it was it's not an area accent. It's just from being growing up in a laid back place on the island. It moves slow. So you just sort of like, there's no rush to talk. There was nothing to do where I grew up. You didn't have to spit it out quick or you get shoved over. You had all day to just throw rocks and kill time.
No rush.
Yeah,
Perfect.
no rush.
And when you're in London, There's no need, but sometimes you get this. Well, we were just talking about Sex Education, the
great show,
the TV show, and who's the actress in it? The American actress,
Gillian Anderson.
Gillian Anderson from the X-Files, who's lived in England for a long time, and now she has affected a British accent.
Yeah,
I don't
like the Madonna thing, where
Madonna, yeah.
Madonna came in?
I don't hear anything from you, Paul.
No, I'm getting called out once in a while now, though. Just over the last year, crowd members go, "Hello, I thought I'm getting Irish a lot."
It's from Ed Byrne.
So maybe it's Ed. Yeah. Spending that much time with Ed probably is rubbing out. But yeah, I think I'm trying to stay strong and
stay strong. Yeah, represent.
Yeah.
You sound pretty much the same since.
I think so too.
My vocabulary may have changed. I'm using some, some of the British things. But
well, it would have to change because just to be understood on stage, you're talking a lot. On stage.
I hear him saying quid every now and then.
Quid. Yeah, what? So tell me, what quid and pound, are they the same thing?
Same, yeah. It's just one quid, 1 pound.
It's like $1 and $1.
But
why wouldn't you say a pound?
Oh, it's just a nickname. You know that symbol that comes after the pound? That sort of looks like a squid, so they say squid, quid.
Oh, it's rhyming slang?
It's like us saying you got $20 on you.
Yeah.
Right.
Because we got deer antlers on everything.
Quid. Yeah, so of course that would, and your the lorry and...
boots and flat and all that sort of stuff.
What's flat?
Apartment.
Oh, your apartment. Yeah.
But I'm trying to stay strong. But I hear myself saying mate a lot, which frustrates myself. So it must drive you guys nuts.
For a while there, you were saying pip pip before you had a sip of coffee in the morning all the time.
That was a tough phase.
A tough phase.
Lost a lot of friends in that
one. You say what?
Pip pip. He was saying.
Yeah. Lost a lot of people.
Yeah, lost a lot of friends.
Did you raise your pinky?
Yes.
Oh, I'm still doing that. Only when he's texting.
Nice
he's got that as an antenna.
They call it the Myrehaug antenna. I can't. My fingers are too. So I go like this. And one's always up, and I get berated.
It's good reception because he's got one finger up above his cell phone.
It's the antenna, right?
It's his antenna. Yeah, he's got he looks like a praying mantis on his phone while he's texting.
All right, so I'm out of questions.
Okay,
all right.
Well, we can flip it to you. We'll
have him read that.
Yeah, it's your turn.
There you go.
I don't have my glasses on, so I'm going to have to do this from memory. This is Damonde Tschritter, and you're listening to What's So Funny on CFRO 100.5 FM, Vancouver Co-op Radio. Better than Paul Myrehaug.
Still.
I like CFRO, man.
CFRO.
That's very cool.
You guys haven't said that yet?
Yeah, we've said it.
Okay.
Maybe not.
Oh, sure. Your dad probably said it in a jazz band riff. Now you're taking credit for it.
Riff.
I saw Joe Plaskett open for Steve Earle at the Orpheum.
Oh, really?
Great show. And he played with his dad. Him and his dad played guitar together.
That's right. They play together.
Yeah. It was amazing. Mm-hmm. Really, until he hit the lyric, I really hate that town, that song, and he says Kelowna. He mentions Kelowna, and he still hit it really hard, and everybody, boo! You can see the big smile on his face.
he relished that. He likes being a heel too.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. It's fun to do when you're generally one of the most likable humans just walking around the planet. It's good to just be a heel when you get a chance. Yeah. It's tough every day being loved.
Yeah. I can do it.
And adored.
Wake up, flowers at your feet. Oh, it's fantastic.
Are you married yet?
Oh, I like the yet part.
You've been engaged several times.
No, I've only been engaged once. I've only been engaged once, but I'm a serial living with women type guy.
The stray cat.
Stray cat. He was calling me the stray cat there, but no, I've been with the same woman for 10 years now. Which is 5 more than I was looking for when I got in. But
you were looking for a solid 5?
Oh, that was like an all-time record. If I got that, that was
so. It's 10 years now.
10 years, yeah.
Wow, and I just met her on the ferry the other day.
Yeah. I just settled in. I'm settled into a nice Dan Marino, back in the pocket a little. Like I learned not to scramble so much, but I've lived with probably 4 different women over time. Mm-hmm. So yeah.
Serial monogamous.
Yes.
Yeah. And we came here straight from a bowling alley. It's Suzanne Plaquin's birthday. So we were there. And so Tuts, his gal, takes bowling very serious. So does Suzanne. So Damon
5
and I,
or 10 pin?
5 pin.
Good.
And we were in a group of 6 people on our team, and Damon and I were the worst scores. We didn't break 100.
Oh, yeah, that's bad.
I'm good at every sport except bowling.
Yeah.
So I like to say I'm still good at every sport.
Are you good at pool?
No, but that's not a sport either.
Are you serious?
No, well, you know what? When I used to get really drunk, I could actually get into a little bit of a Tom Cruise cocky mode.
Is snooker a sport?
Snooker,
that's a sport.
Yes, just because the champion of the world was from Victoria when I was a kid.
Yeah, Cliff Thorburn.
Yes, Cliff Thorburn. So
Canadian icon.
Yeah, it would be on Wild
Order of Canada.
It was on Wild World of Sports. That's how little coverage they had back in the 80s. There was Cliff Thorburn playing snooker, and then they'd have like Mexican cliff jumping for a while. They'd go to that. Do you remember those guys? That was part of sports.
No clothes from a guy wearing a fucking vest.
That's how you were spending your Saturday as a kid waiting for hockey to start. So.
You know who else has the Order of Canada?
Mark Breslin.
My dad.
Your dad has the Order of Canada.
He does not.
Does he?
Does he? For what?
What?
Jazz?
Do you not hear that music?
Jazz?
Stop it. Yeah, of course.
That's awesome.
Contributions to music.
Does he wear it at Christmas to like?
He's not around anymore.
Oh, okay.
Damon.
Come on.
Thanks for bringing that up.
Jeez.
All right. I don't know. He's been bragging about his dad all night. I thought I'd pay the man a compliment. So now I get to flush down the toilet. That's why I go against the grain usually.
This show is over. So the Snowed In Tour. Now, how many have you done so far in this?
So it's 65 cities, and we've done
total. Because I saw the list of upcoming, and you end in like PEI, don't you?
Yeah, it's all the way across.
That's crazy because it used to be basically Vancouver and a little bit inland.
Vancouver to Whistler when it started.
Yeah, 9 shows.
And Vernon.
Yeah.
And then it went.
So it's 65 total. How many have you done?
70 shows, 65 cities is what it is.
Okay. And how many have you done so far?
That was city 33 last night. Or show 33, maybe.
33.
Show 33, yeah.
Wow.
So we still have it doesn't end until April.
You two are on all of them?
No. Paul.
I'm on them all, and Damon floats in and out.
Paul, Pete, and Dan go
Pete
right across.
Pete Zedlacker and Dan Quinn.
Yeah. And then Deb D, Giovanni, myself, and Sigurdsson float through the other parts of the tour.
One at a time or two at a time?
Always one at a time. We're always so on the banner, their names are permanent, and then there's like a Velcro, and our names go up in the Velcro. It's a little crinkly where it says David Tschritter or Giovanni or Erica Sigurdsson.
And you retired from snowboarding. What about you, Paul?
No, I'm still full on. We actually, I was laughing because the day after Kobe's accident, I was in a helicopter heli-boarding.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, and I was thinking about it. But yeah, I love snowboarding still. I still full on ride. But I got an injury a couple of years ago. The last day of the tour, I separated my shoulder and bicep, and I did the Snowed In TV taping on morphine. Which was interesting. So
So do you remember that?
I do remember.
Like Damon's time, he got.
Yeah, I remember it, but I was.
Your motor was running slow.
Oh yeah,
right. He was the joke.
Did you have to
worked.
whisper a joke to Damon to get him?
Oh, we should have done that. Yeah.
You could imitate him.
Yeah, I guess I could if I've never been put in. The first thing I got to do is get an apple box. So I get up to your height. I got to get to mic height before they can even hear me. Or I got to get some stilts made.
Give us one of his lines in his voice.
Paul Myrehaug. I don't even know if I could do it. Trying to think.
You got to sound Irish.
Well, first I got to think of a memorable line.
That's really hard.
A memorable line.
That's going to be hard.
First, I got to remember a good joke.
I was thinking he's so quotable. Like fucking every, Yeah. You just remember. It's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, that's apparently they used to do like impressions of that. You got to fight a fire like Columbus, and those guys would go around. Yeah. It was one of those things that you could impersonate.
How about that pizza joke that you told me that I forget was mine?
Yeah, I like. Paul was like, I like my.
That's how I sound.
You always sort of. I like my women like I like my pizza, large Hawaiian.
That was from a debate.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I was saying to him, I'm like, and we were walking down the hall, and I said, that joke about like I like my pizza like I like my women, large Hawaiian. And he laughed. He's like, that's a good joke. And he's like, whose is that? I'm like, it's yours. He's like, it's mine. I'm like, yeah, you used it in the debate. Kenny and I laughed about it for days because it was his opening on
the pizza debate.
Pizza. Was pizza good or bad or whatever,
versus,
right?
Graham Clark. Yeah,
big, huge opening line, and the whole place went nuts. So I was like, that's a great. And then the funny thing is, we go to the place to order pizza. Large Hawaiian. That's what he drinks. That's what he eats. I've only ever seen him eat a Hawaiian pizza.
I'm gonna get one tonight.
Do you guys like the challenge of writing for the debaters?
Yes. I absolutely love it. Yeah, it's amazing, and the temperature inside your like when you're going out there and doing the untested material is amazing. It's fun.
Like you're hot, you're sweating.
God, yeah, you're nervous and like you don't feel like that for regular shows. And when you're going out there,
with stand up, I was talking to Kevin Banner tonight, who opened up for Sam Morrill, and he said he's living on the island, and he said it's difficult. Playing such a hot room as hecklers because you never really know if your jokes are going to work when you come over somewhere else. Yeah. And normally you get to try them out in different places, but with the debaters, no, you write it and you perform it in front of a live audience and it goes coast to coast.
Yeah.
But you get a good sense after all these years of what's funny, right?
For sure. You don't know when it's because the funny thing is like some of the ones that you think are going to be your biggest.
Nothing
work, and then other ones that you think are throwaways turn out to
big hits.
It's strange, right? And plus, at the same time, you're kind of in a competitive mode because you want to win. Well, it's one of the things. Like when I first did them, I was always filled with like stats to back them up. I thought I was in a debate trying to prove I was winning. That's when I went 0 for 5 in the stretch there, and it turned out you're supposed to be writing jokes.
Yeah, it's all about entertainment.
So you didn't have to prove your point. You just have to.
But it's a good muscle because I guess temptation, you can do the same jokes for years.
Well,
they're tried and tested and
and that's the other thing with Snowed In now is the number one rule is you have to come on this tour with a new 25 ready to go every year. You can't do repeats because it's the same crowds coming out in Smithers and all that sort of stuff. So that's
and you're each doing about 25.
Yeah.
So when they say new 25, completely new show.
Yeah, because I've done it. I think this is my 7th or 8th year, but the first 3 years you got a catalog of material to choose from, but that you run out of that pretty quick. So now the last 2 years have been like, honestly, I go to Europe, I write the new 25, I practice it there, and I bring it on the tour. And it's
and you're just doing your debaters jokes.
Yeah, basically. No. Yeah, exactly. No, but and that's been really interesting. So it's the same as debaters, where it breathes life into your act because you're it's moving and you're writing and you're forced to write. It's great.
And over 70 shows, you got a chance to really fine tune it. Although you've done it in Europe, but like it can grow as the tour goes too,
Absolutely.
right?
And it's kind of nice to not have anything to fall back on. You'd be surprised what you come up with when you're stuck and you just start talking.
And the rule, this rule being that you can't use old jokes?
Yes. Like last year, I was sort of going through this weird phase where I was hanging around with Rory Scovel, and he was like, I was doing this experiment where you just go on stage, and because we're funny guys, it should come out of you funny if you talk. So I started when I was with Paul on night 1, and it was okay and whatever. But, at like 12 minutes, your jokes are like, put me in the game. Like the old jokes want to get in there. You're like, sit down, get your tracksuit on. We're moving on. And then by night 3, they were starting to get applause breaks. And I was surprised that you could build in a new 25 that you had never tested. I didn't have time to test it out. I just walked out with, here's 25 that I'm going to do for the tour. And about 12 of that was still there at the end of it, but filled in and talked to people and built new jokes while I was there.
Well, as he says, you're a funny guy, so you should be able to, here tonight.
Yeah, and it was funny, but like things that started out as this, like I built a whole Peanut People bit that's been working really great, was just the end of a joke that I was doing in the thing. So you fell into you start to as you explain things, they turn out funny. You should actually be able to do things funny.
Scovel is a guy who, to me, seems like every show he does is completely different, but I know that's not true.
It's not true. He has stuff that it gets there, but he'll go through phases. But he can go off on a tangent that's not there. And I'm no Skull. I'm not it's Skull. He's probably the best guy going out there, right?
Well, he's third.
Well, he's third best in technical skills, but I was just with him I was just with him down. He's a pretty good surfer. Like he'll ride a wave as long out as it can go. Right?
So, he was like that when we were kids too. In 2006, like Damon and I were doing our thing in that competition. At the end of it, you're doing 20-minute sets, and Scoville was up there, kicking things on stage, and completely everything was different every night, and it was amazing.
Once he was out of the running to win.
Yeah.
On his last night when he didn't have a chance to win, he had the best set out of the whole the entire thing, because then he was just free to talk about whatever he wanted, and he did it the Scoville way.
Isn't that a good lesson?
Yeah.
Right?
It is a good lesson.
Auditions, job interviews. If you don't care if you get it or not, you're going to kill it.
You're good to go.
Yeah, you got no pressure on you.
Yeah.
So unless you're, I don't fold under pressure. So
that's why you came in first.
Yeah, that's why I came in first.
I just watched you roll a 60 in bowling under pressure.
That was an 82. Yeah.
82. What did you get?
89 or 87.
Okay, so you're a little better at bowling.
How good is this in 5-pin, though? That sounds like horrible for 10-pin, but
it's terrible in 5-pin. Even we were the only two to not break 100.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
All right.
So you can get 200 in 5-pin.
I've never played 5-pin bowling.
You should. It's a great Canadian game.
Christy rolls in slow motion. It looks like a replay, and she put up a 125. The ball is rolling down just enough to knock over kind of. They wobble a bit.
And you're just like trying to toss it in like a baseball?
No, you're rolling it on the ground. It's lawn bowling.
But
faster.
Okay.
Faster with some gutters. Yeah. So
I'm on board.
Yeah.
So the 65 or 70 shows, and you've done 33.
33 shows out of 70,
It's great that you can have this career in Europe, and then for how many months is the Snowed-In tour?
4.
4. Are you here for 4 months, or are you going back?
There's built-in breaks, so I'll fly back to France for 12 days or whatever, and then come back. Yeah, so there's about 3 built-in breaks.
Yeah. What a treat.
It's a gift, yeah.
You think?
Unbelievable, yeah. And the venues, like coming here and doing theaters and
the Vogue Theater,
like it's crazy. It's an unbelievable tour, and it takes the pressure off. Europe, I can take some time off and just relax, and it's unbelievable.
It's really amazing what Dan's done.
Yeah, it is. It's incredible
tour. Because I remember when it started, and as you say, it was few places and small rooms like the bars on the mountains.
Yeah, and he was just basing it to sort of go snowboarding, but I'd say sort of early in 2001, I did a couple with him where like he kind of put together and took the risks. And we went up into weird places in northern Alberta. He's like, hey, I'll give you $250 a show. And then he was figuring out how to, like, he lost money on some and made money on, but he sort of like, come with me and do the shows. And it would be like a college one night, a bar, a Legion. They were smaller versions of it, but he was getting his sort of footing groundwork. So when he decided to do this thing 5 years later, he had sort of tested the waters. It's the, whatever you call it, the overnight success is 10 years in the making type thing. He's a real lesson in that.
And when it extended across, like Damon and I started the Prairie Tour and that whole thing with him. And, that first year we lost money. Mean, it takes it. Now we're going, I think this is year 6 going into those same theaters that are Winnipeg and that. And finally, they're now starting to be full, but it takes a while to build it up.
I know Ed Byrne has done the tour.
Yep.
Who you mentioned, Craig Campbell, of course, did it many years.
Yep.
He doesn't do it anymore.
Yeah.
And
Glenn Wool was in there.
Glenn Wool.
Arj Barker.
Yeah. He did it for a couple years.
He's coming back. He was here last year, and he's coming back next year as well.
He's coming back next year.
Yeah.
And from Kids in the Hall?
Scott Thompson.
He did it?
Popped in there? Yeah, Scott Thompson.
Last week our guest on the program was Eddie Ift.
Oh, yeah.
And Eddie spent the day snowboarding with Glenn Wool, or skiing.
Yeah.
Or they both went to Whistler that day, and then he came down to do a show at the House of Comedy, the new House of Comedy in New West. They have shows on Sunday, so then they can come and do this show when they're in town. Yeah. But I thought, Eddie Ift, he'd be good on the Snowed-In tour and probably love it because...
he has been calling. I think he calls down and we wants on there, but he's got to toss one of us off.
And that's, you know what that is in British.
Toss off. No, I don't. What is it? I don't know.
It's a jerk-off joke.
Yeah.
You got to toss one
well,
of us
earlier
off.
tonight you said rub one off with somebody, so I thought maybe.
There you go.
Yeah. So Eddie Ift's probably just going to have to keep it to, doing festivals.
Yeah.
And then, it's funny who's...
I don't know. You gotta mix up the tour. Somebody's got to sit out one year just to inject new life into it.
That's what you'd think.
Yeah, but it actually...
They sort of rotate around, but it sort of seems to be a stable of people coming back to enjoy the... Like, it might be time to maybe, not keep the same 3 guys all the way through.
All the way through, yeah. And the other thing...
Just 70 shows.
Well, just somewhere in there, like, you could switch it up and let... But then it's money. There's all sorts... There's what do you call it? Financial aspects to this.
Yeah.
What there's our theme music. We are being played off. That's not my dad, but it's my old roommate. So don't say a damn word.
I love this tune.
Thank you. What are your next shows of the Snowed In tour?
It starts off in Medicine Hat and goes through, Swift Current, Moose Jaw, Regina, Saskatoon, North Battleford, Lloydminster. That next couple of weeks is basically there all the way to Thunder Bay.
It'll be homecoming for you.
Yeah, and we do my hometown in the Bailey Theatre, and it's always exciting.
Excellent.
And we should bring up that if people want to hear us, Paul and I are doing a podcast called The Microdose. And you can hear it on everywhere.
Every Wednesday.
Yeah. And
we don't plug other podcasts.
Oh, okay. Well, but you'll... 4 seconds. Microdose podcast.
Gotta go. Thanks, guys.
All right.